Okay, so it appears that we're live. I hope there's some sort of delay between my preview and the feed. Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. This is the first time I'm doing this thing, I guess, live streaming. So things are not going to be perfect, but everyone has to start from somewhere, I guess. So let's jump right in. We had this sort of vote in the forum about what subject you wanted to talk about, and you unanimously agreed to cover the algorithm and how to rank gigs. So can anyone can everyone hear me? Okay, see me? Like, is this working? I guess. How do I don't see any comments. I'm gonna assume everything is working just fine. So anyway, let's jump right in. So basically what I want to do is cover a few basics and just go through what I'm going to cover in this live session, and then hopefully we can jump into the we can jump into the questions, which is, I guess, the main part of this whole ordeal. So let's do this. Here's how I'm breaking it down. First of all, we're going to have algorithms 101, a very short, brief intro about what an algorithm is exactly and what it's meant to do. So maybe that clarification is in order, because I see a lot of people in the forums confused and kind of like blaming the system and the algorithm about whether or not their gig is performing or not. And I just want to take this opportunity and say that this is not only just for Fiverr gigs. This is like how algorithms work in general. So this is platform agnostic, I guess. Then we're gonna cover the fundamentals about what Fiverr is trying to do and what it's not trying to do. And I have a little surprise for you guys, because I did send over a questionnaire to my wonderful success manager Yarden, and she got back to me with a really interesting answer. So hopefully that should clarify a couple of things. And then I think instead of me going through what we're gonna cover, maybe I should just jump right in. Okay, so basically the algorithm is just a set of instructions, if that makes any sense. It's basically us humans trying to teach a computer how to figure things out on its own. So I guess what happens is, like, the programmers, I guess, have a set of instructions that they feed to the computer. I'm just trying to get this out as simple as possible, and so that the computer can then do things on its own. And so basically humans can only give the computer some inputs, and then assign the different weights to said feeds, I guess. So this is how Facebook works, this is how Google works, this is how Google search works, this is how basically every social media platform works. And people have been trying to understand the algorithm and hack algorithms all the time, because they're trying to get their content out there. We are trying to get our gigs out there, and we're trying to make sure that whoever is searching for that one thing that we offer, that we pop up as high as possible in search results. The truth of the matter is that we cannot actually figure out how the algorithm works, because that's proprietary information, and so Fiverr will never reveal how the algorithm works. And that being said, we can definitely get a sense of what those metrics are, how different weights are assigned to each value, I guess. So for instance, I think Instagram has this weird algorithm that, it calculates views, likes, appearances on the explore page, that sort of thing. And each action, like if I like someone and then I follow them, or if I skip a video and then unfollow an account, there are negative and positive actions that a user can take. So then if I like a video, that counts for something. We don't know what that something is. It's usually like a weird formula or something, like a percentage. Like liking something is more important than skipping it, and then unfollowing is the worst thing that could happen, or that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm not even sure how Instagram algorithm works. So just as an example. Okay, so the algorithm is a secret formula. We have no way of hacking it or affecting it, or we're just trying to figure it out. It's basic math, actually, because that's all the computer can understand. And basically the formula is comprised of different elements. Each element bears a different weight. Some are more important than others. And the most important part that people usually forget about is that this is a formula, right? So computers understand if this, then that, but it may be even more complicated than that. So there are different things at play at the same time, all the time. So it's not just a matter of, having the best content, in our case, having the best offering out there. It's a really complicated thing. We'll go over it in more detail in just a second. Okay, so let's go over the fundamentals a bit. So Fiverr is a company, and this company is in the money-making business. So basically what I want to say is, without appearing to be someone who's taking Fiverr's side or whatever, Fiverr is there to make money. So my guess is that the team behind the algorithm and the programmers that are making stuff that the algorithm understands, basically are tweaking it and optimizing it in a way that helps the system. So as long as sales are being made, and as long as customers are not leaving Fiverr without actually swiping the credit card and buying something, then Fiverr considers that everything is a-okay. So Fiverr is a highly competitive marketplace. I'm guessing everyone on here knows that. So basically what happens is that we have, like, I guess close to, if not over 1 million sellers on the platform, and most people have an average of 4 to 5 gigs at least, if not 7. So I'm guessing that's a lot of content for the platform to manage. So the algorithm is there to help people always be able to find whatever it is they're looking for. Okay, so that being said, let's discuss the elephant in the room. Let's address the problem right now. We all felt a tectonic shift in the past, I want to say 3 years, 2.5, 3 years for sure. Basically what happens is, we thought we had the platform figured out, and by figured out I mean everything was a-okay. We were just producing gigs, trying out new stuff, Some things appeared to be working better than others, and we thought we were all set. And then what happened? What happened was that we started seeing some weird drops in rankings, which the only way we could figure those out was try and look at our a very plain analytics page where we only get to see impressions, clicks, and that sort of thing, and sales. And then what we would do was, go over to Fiverr and then, search for our keywords, our tags, our titles, whatever, and try to see how high up we appear in search results. What people fail to realize, or I'm guessing they have forgotten, is that Fiverr used to be a lot different back then. If you remember, it was a home page, and it had like 9 or 12 gigs in the home page, and everyone was trying to reach the home page. And I remember reaching the home page was a huge deal, because that happened to me once. Actually, I made it to the front page. It was one of my gigs for mobile app promo videos, whatever, and I got a huge flood of sales. Like it was a record week for me. Like I had 50 sales in just 1 week. I had a crazy queue of 40 something gigs for like 3 or 4 days straight. Like it was hectic. It was a nightmare for me. So yeah, basically there was a homepage, and everyone was trying to, and that's why there was an association. Like people thought that Fiverr works in the same way as Google, because what happens with Google and SEO and advertising and that sort of thing, people try to get to the top of the search results page, but that's not how Fiverr works right now. So let me switch over to my computer screen right now. Okay, so basically this is Fiverr. This is not, how this doesn't resemble how Fiverr used to look like at all. Basically, if you look at it, it's basically a huge search engine. There are no top results anymore, and everything is about relevance. So we need to understand that when someone comes to Fiverr as a buyer to find a certain type of service, a certain type of gig, they are constantly being fed things by Fiverr itself, because it's proactively trying to secure the sale, and it's trying to convert visitors into buyers so they can add their credit card info and just happily shop away. So basically, if I come here and search for, let's search for something really, okay, logo design. Okay, so basically right there, I just typed in logo, and Fiverr immediately suggested a bunch of stuff. So that means that Fiverr knows, that means that Fiverr knows that every time someone types in logo, they're looking for one of these stuff. Logo design, logo animation, logo business, minimal. So basically these are keywords, tags, whatever you want to call them. And Fiverr assumes that this is what you're looking for. So let me help you out so you can find it faster, and we can get the sales done. That we can get this over with. So if I click on logo design, okay. So then I get served a certain a specific page with some gigs ranking better than others. And by ranking, I mean they appear to the top of the page, whereas lower ranked gigs appear to the bottom of the page. But here's the interesting part. Okay, so Fiverr is trying to help me as a buyer, and it's showing me a bunch of stuff that I can click through. So I don't need 3D, I need this one. I'm not looking for JPEG, I'm looking for Illustrator. I need source files delivered. And then I can also do this. which will narrow it down even further. I only want to deal with level 2, English speaking, whatever. Oh, location, awesome. United States, boom. So, right off the bat, I got rid of hundreds of results and I ended up with 26 gigs. So basically what I want to say is that this is no longer a platform where, we type in logo design and then Fiverr, serves us a page with 20,000 something gigs, and we need to figure out what we want to buy based on how pretty the gig image is, and what the description says and what the title is or whatever. Fiverr is using relevance, and that means that what I type in the search box matters. What sort of work I need done also matters. I can filter through the level and location of the seller, language they speak, whatever. Let me show you another interesting thing that for some reason is not part of the logo design category, I guess. So when I type in, for instance, animated, which is my category, that's why I know this happens, animated explainer video, for instance, I get, oh, wait, what's happening? Okay, for some reason I'm not getting it now, but what happens is I get served with maybe it happens when you're looking for it, when you're not logged in. Anyway, so what happens is Fiverr also has a bunch of wizards. Like when you're looking for something, I was looking for an animated explainer video to see where the competition is at and what's happening in my category. And what happened was a wizard appeared on screen, and they had like, do you have a script or are you looking for a script? And I had to click yes or no, and then it was like, do you have a voiceover or should the seller get you one? And then I had to click there too, and then there were 2 or 3 more questions, and then the results page that appeared was completely different than what I would get if I were just to search the terms animated explainer video. So it was really weird, and Fiverr got really specific. Like if the seller didn't cover script writing, they were out of the results page that I would get. If they didn't offer voiceover, they were out as well. So basically what I want to get at is that everything is about everything is about what a user is looking for, when they're looking for it, where they are when they're looking for it, and what it is that they're looking for. So basically, we have no way of controlling the dynamic of the result page that any single user on the platform will get. It is not 100% random for sure, but what happens is, even if you try and look for your gig, like signed in, you will get a completely different set of results. And then if you log out of your account, or if you try incognito mode or whatever, then you would get served completely different set of results. So basically that's the main thing that I wanted to cover as far as how Fiverr works now versus a couple of years back. Back then, there was a single page that everyone was trying to get on that page, because it meant that whoever typed in Fiverr.com would end up being served your gig, from the very first second. So that would lead to sales, obviously. But right now, you enter Fiverr, and it's like a huge banner that prompts the user to just search away. And then as they dig into the search, they get completely different results. And I think this is just an assumption I'm making, that there are a lot of factors in play. So again, user location, when they're conducting the search, the filters that they're clicking through, all that sort of thing. So there's no way to replicate the same, that's the randomness of it all, that there's no way to replicate the same results page that I'm gonna get if I ask someone right now to look for whiteboard animations. They would probably get something completely different than what I'm getting right now. And okay, that being said, I want to go over how I think this works. This is like the first major conspiracy theory that I have. Okay, so I basically came to the conclusion that all results are super dynamic, which means like Fiverr benefits as a marketplace when all sellers get a chance to shine. Okay, so basically they have no motivation, no reason, no good reason whatsoever to just keep serving the same sellers on the search results. And I think I've seen several posts on the forums talking about this, and complaining about how they used to be on the very top of the page when you looked for logo design, and then the next day they weren't, or they lost 20 spots because they were counting. I was on row 3 and I was on row 2, and then I was on row 50 or whatever. What happens is, guys, there's this automated thing that happens, that goes on, that actually freshen things up. So no matter what you search and no matter what you are looking for, if you look for it on Monday and you look for it on Thursday, let's say, you're gonna get all fresh new faces. It doesn't matter what the level of the seller is. It doesn't matter, what the keywords were. They are always rotating results because they are trying to effectively give everyone a chance to get a sale. So they are trying to help sellers out. And remember, guys, there's a little, I'm guessing, I'm going to ask next time because I'm going to send a new email to Yarden. So hopefully she can get me that number. There's a little over 1 million sellers, I think. So picture how this algorithm is always trying to keep things fresh. So a buyer doesn't, search for something and sees the same sellers all the time. It will look stagnant, and it will look like he's getting nowhere. Or if you went through the top 10 listed sellers and 3 of them were busy, 5 of them were not good enough, or whatever, then that buyer would end up leaving the marketplace, not buying anything, because they would see that there's nothing out there for them. So yes, sellers in the long run, I guess, get to benefit from that because newer sellers get a chance. But at the same time, I think this is more, for the buyers. This is a benefit to the buyers, at least in my point of view, because they're rotating gigs. Well, I see people on the forums constantly saying that this is unfair. So I want to address that. This is my personal opinion, and I think that, A, life's not fair. B, this is business, so we shouldn't take things personally. And C, what would happen if, the top search results were just, veteran sellers or pro sellers or TRSs or whatever, what have you. So any new member would have a really hard time getting that first sale in. And I think it's really, it's actually pretty hard as it is right now. So imagine if there was no rotation baked into the system. But it is there to, I'm assuming, to basically help buyers not leave the platform because they are constantly being fed something new. Because if they struck out once searching for something, they can get something better or something more appropriate to either their budget, the timeline, or their personal taste down the line. Um, Again, this is merely, I think, a matter of perspective, like how you choose to see it. People who tend to blame, you know, things, people, other people, or other factors that they're not in control of, will tend to say that this is extremely unfair, and everyone likes it better when they're rank better and they get more sales in or whatever. So I don't know how much time have you been talking about this. Okay, so we're halfway there. Okay, so let's talk about what's really going on, and if we set as a baseline that there's nothing we can do about the algorithm itself, we can't hack it, we can't fully understand it. Okay, this is a good segue to actually tell you guys what happened with Fiverr. I sent my wonderful success manager, Yarden, a very brief questionnaire, because I wanted to be able to give you guys an official answer, I guess, from Fiverr itself, about what they can or cannot talk about when it comes to the algo and rankings and good practices and whatever. And I was very, very clear, and I tried to be as clear as possible when I said that this is not going to be a video about me ranting about how unfair this is, and how we need the secret sauce, and we need to know how this or that works, because that would end up getting rejected, and the good people of Fiverr would probably wouldn't even allow me to do this live stream or whatever. But Yarden was tried really hard, you guys, to get me an answer to at least a couple of the questions. I did get an official response back when she checked with everyone she had to check with, and what she said was, and I'm quoting her right now. Okay, thank you for your patience while I reviewed the questions internally. As I already mentioned, I don't know the answers to most of them, and unfortunately, I'm not able to get the information, nor would be able to share it externally. So yeah, basically, you guys, my questions were designed in a way to get some useful information about what we should be looking for, what we should be doing versus what we're doing right now, that sort of thing. So revealing any part of that information would mean they would be revealing part of how the algorithm works. Again, this is proprietary information, and if they were to release something like that externally, or even imply that this is how something works and this is what will get you ranked, that would mean they would be prepping users to game the system, and nothing would even matter anymore, like quality and actual gig performance and that sort of thing. So I completely understand the response. I had to do it. I wanted to do it, actually. I was really curious to see what they would tell me. And I wanted to get something to share with you guys. And so this is interesting. Okay, so I think, like, if you search in the forum about gig favorites, like, this has always been a pet peeve of mine. Like, people come on the forum and they go, hey, favorite my gig because I'm gonna favorite your gig back, and this gig had 500 favorites and that's why they're getting so many sales in. Okay, so I know for a fact that this is like horseshit. The gig favorite is nothing more than a glorified bookmark button. It's the only purpose it serves is it's there for buyers to actually spot a gig they like and then save it for later. And actually, they advance the UI a bit. So when you save a gig, you actually get to add it to a list. You get to send it. You get to make like a sort of like a playlist, like if it were music tracks or whatever, and then you can send it to your team, you can send it to other users, or you can just save it so you can buy it later at a later time. So I get, I've seen Facebook groups, private Facebook groups that exchange gig favorites. and some users were selling it as a service. Like, I'm gonna get 5 more users to favorite your gig because we know that, you know, when you save a gig, the gig ends up performing better. Well, this is the only official response that I was able to get, and this is again quoting Yarden. The one thing that I can confirm is that favorites on gigs don't help or hurt anything. Wah, wah, wah. The favorites option is a tool for buyers to easily save gigs for future reference. Thank you so much. That was amazing. So basically, all those Facebook groups, if you ever, you know, run into one that offer that as a service, or, you know, it's just a bunch of guys like bookmarking each other's gigs, doing nothing to help each other out. So I just wanted to help dispel that myth, because I keep seeing it on the forum. There's actually a couple of weeks back, there were a series of new users like posting, "Hi everyone, favorite my gig, I'll favorite yours back." You know, let's just drop that and once and for all, you know, dispel that myth. It's not helpful, it's not hurting either, but it's not doing anything to help you guys. So there you go. Okay, so that being said, I think we should get to the juicy part, which is about what should we do if we want to rank better. Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, it's all about your offering. I've been playing this like a broken record. I've been saying this over and over and over again. Nothing matters really if what you chose to do is something that you chose based on what's trending. If you chose to offer a gig that you're not good at, if you chose to offer a gig that's, you know, a service, let's not confine it to on Fiverr, that it's something that you don't love doing, that you're not pursuing excellence, that you're not consistently bringing in the results. So I think that job number one is to find out what it is that you're good at and that is in demand. But this is a whole different subject altogether. This is something that I'm a different subject that I hopefully in the future, if this turns into a series, will cover in great detail about how to find that, you know, secret thing that you need to find out in to create a great gig and offer a huge service, a great service that would, you know, help lots of people. But I want to focus on just one thing, that when you find that one thing that you're good at, and when you have that one gig that you can offer and be competitive, because this is a highly competitive marketplace. Remember, this is not our website where people click on our website and get to see our stuff. They get to see our stuff, and then if they scroll a bit lower down the page of our gig, they get like, "Hey, have you seen this one as well? This might be cheaper. This might be better. This guy is more good looking," or whatever. So it's really, really, really the competition is, you know, crazy right now on Fiverr. So if you don't have a strong gig altogether, then all this is a moot point. Basically, we need to focus on what we do best. So let's jump into my computer screen for just a second, and let me see if oh wait, before I do that, sorry you guys, this is like, again, first time I'm doing this, and sometimes it takes time. Okay, so let me open up a page real quick. Okay, I think now I'm good and ready. Okay, back to my computer screen. So this is what I want to cover right now. So let's see what happens when we create a gig. Okay, so basically the very first screen, as you all know, is, let me zoom in right here. The gig title, category, obviously, and search tags. This should be, our very first, clue as to what it is that we should be focusing on. First of all, again, I'm going to repeat myself here, but if we choose to focus on things we cannot control, aka the algorithm, we are not going to be in the proper mindset to actually advance ourselves and do better and bring in more sales and be efficient at what it is we're doing. So instead of that, let's just focus on what we can do and what we can control. So let's try and look for, I'm gonna go with logo design once again. Awesome. So as you can see, most people try to create a unique title, and they try to load up as many keywords as possible. And especially when it comes to creative services, they just focus too much on the gig image and the portfolio and that sort of thing. Okay, that's awesome, but I want to just focus on this one thing right now. Okay, so looks, designs, top rated seller, awesome. So I will design a professional, unique, modern, minimalist business logo. Okay, so this guy right here has 6 set of keywords. Let's look at the gig title as keywords. So I count 6. This one, badge, retro, vintage logo design, that counts as 1, and t-shirt, and is a wasted word if you ask me. And then, oh, awesome, a studio one. Never saw that pop up before. Okay. Let's scroll a bit down. Okay. Retro vintage logo for you. Okay, it's cool if it's for me, that's awesome. Meaningful nature theme logo, top-notch logo tag. Okay, so basically, let's deconstruct the gig title. Let's move back to the gig creation page. So I will, and the prompt says, do something I'm really good at. Remember what we said a few minutes back? So, okay. Let's deconstruct the title. We want the title to be organic and not forced. So cramming in a bunch of keywords is not going to help. I will create logo design, and then maybe we want to make it more specific. I don't know, 3D logo design for your business, let's say. Okay, so that's a string of keywords actually that make a sentence that makes sense when a human is trying to read it. So if we go back to the search engine and type in logo, okay, so we see a bunch of suggestions. So as a general rule, when Fiverr suggests something in our niche, we should really consider using that as a keyword. It doesn't mean that we have to, and it doesn't mean that that's the way to go, but we could definitely use that feedback as to what Fiverr pushes towards buyers. So let's say that we type in logo and we get back logo minimal Twitch design. Okay, so logo design sounds good. Okay, then logo design brings up more keywords. Logo design minimalist, logo design business, logo unique logo design. Okay, that's also considered one keyword. Professional logo design, creative logo design, yada yada yada. Okay, so let's say we want to do unique logo design for some reason. Not a fan, but yeah, whatever works. you also get more suggestions down below. That also means that Fiverr is feeding those types of results to buyers. It's serving unique search pages full of results that have these taglines, keywords right here. So all these tags right here. So basically, when we're constructing our title, which is, in my experience, the most important part of the gig creation process, we need to select one tag, let's call it, a key phrase, let's say, for simplicity, that has at least 3 words that cover our niche. Again, it's going to be words that cover what it is we do, and not something that we don't do and we're just trying to, catch the SEO train to success. So let's say, for this example, unique logo design. Okay, I will create a unique logo design. Maybe we can do something better, like modern. Maybe we can squeeze one more in there. I don't know. Unique and modern logo design. Perfect. You choose your category, whatever, and then what you want to do is you want to use the same phrase as a tag when you are filling out this beauty right here, the search tags box. Here we go. Create a unique. Okay, so what I would do now is create this string, unique logo design, excuse me, and modern logo design. And why not unique modern logo design? That would, oh wait, I'm out of turns. Okay, logo design, logo creation, whatever. So let's fill out 2 more terms, and here's the secret that I discovered, is what works best. Whatever it is you use in the title needs to be organic and needs to not be forced. So you need to add filler words and that sort of thing to create a fully understandable, an easy to understand sentence. Then you need to actually have as one search tag the exact phrase that comes from this sentence right here. So what I did was break down the title into 2 different tags: unique logo design, modern logo design. Again, my keywords are logo and design put together, but as Fiverr told me, it keeps suggesting creative logo design and modern logo design. And this is a catch-22 actually, because we can't for sure, at least I can for sure say if it's, if all this is created based on all the tags that sellers create, or is it based on the average search based on actual buyers. Whatever the case may be, Fiverr is suggesting those terms which seem to be the ones that we need to use if we want to rank. Okay, so we have the title, again, organic, not forced, a human sentence. Then we break it down into complex, somewhat complex search tags, never isolated. So I wouldn't go logo, enter, then design, enter, then modern, whatever. That wouldn't work as well. You need to target specific key phrases. You can't, however, you cannot fill out this box with 5 full sentences and expect to get everything but the sink. You can't target everyone looking for everything in your niche. You need to focus on something, which brings me back to my very first remark. You need to focus on what it is you do best. You need to have your gig figured out before you start creating the actual gig. So, and here comes the secret, which is not a huge secret because I've seen other users suggesting it in a somewhat different way. but the next most important. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, we're not gonna. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So let's just proceed. Okay. Okay, packages. Let's not go through everything. Let's keep it short. The next important step is the description, actually. So basically, the very first line of your description needs, once again, organically and not forced, to have the same set of tags in the very first sentence that you begin your gig description with. So in this case, I will create a unique and modern logo design is my title. I broke it down to at least 2 rather good tag phrases. So when I start my gig description, I need to organically, okay, I got a message. Okay, fine. I need to organically get that in there in a sentence, again, humans can understand. The only thing I need to do is start with a sentence that contains at least one of the 2. So let's say modern logo design, which will be my focus. So then I would start the sentence with something like, are you looking for a modern logo design or designed or something like that? So basically, that's the trifecta. That's how the search engine will pick up your gig. It's not gonna get you sales immediately. It's not a guaranteed hack. It's not a hack even. It's just proper SEO. It's what you would do. I have, I'm not a specialist in the SEO category, but I know how to get my gigs to perform when they first get published. So you need the title, and then you need the tags to contain the key phrase of the title. Maybe I overdid it in this example because I tried to fit these 2 in. But again, Fiverr is all about relevance, as we covered before, so maybe that's a good idea. As long as the title is organic, this is broken down not into single words but into different phrases, and then the very first line of our description has a very human and organic sentence that contains said key phrases, if not both, at least one for sure. And cherry on top of this tip, feel free to use bold just for the key phrase, because Fiverr picks up on that, much like Google. Google, when you have an article, everything you have in bold considers to be information of greater value versus non-bold text. So yeah, I think this pretty much covers it. I spent too much time on this segment. Sorry, you guys. This is I got distracted as well because someone was commenting about how this is taking so long, and anyway, sorry about that. So I think that, let me switch back to my camera so you can see me. Okay, so that's all I had to say. This is not a hack. This is not, some sort of method that you can, instantly use and get ranked. This will help you only if you have a strong gig to offer, and if you're looking for a way to not constantly think in the back of your head like, oh, is Fiverr, pushing me down search results? Am I not ranking because this or that or whatever? So this is one good practice. Like, don't overdo it in the title. Use your key phrases. Try to narrow it down as much as possible. Do not create one gig and fill out the title with 3 key phrases and then try to replicate those in your description and your tag section. You're gonna hurt your gig more than you're gonna do any good. So in that case, you can create a second gig or a third one. You can create multiple gigs, right? So again, you need to create separate offerings when you just want to target different key phrases, but different gigs altogether. So you can't have like what I see new users, creating a gig. I will create a modern design, and then the very second gig they publish is I will create a professional logo design, and then they just change the adjective or I don't know, a couple of words. They switch them around and they expect them to perform equally well or whatever. Fiverr actually punishes those gigs. If Fiverr figures out that you're using multiple gigs to offer pretty much the same thing, but you're kind of like experimenting with gig titles because you're trying to get everyone to buy from you, then it's gonna push you down search results, and your gig effectively will die. So okay. One pro tip right now is, again, it's all in the mindset. So successful businesses, one key difference versus smaller ones, not as successful, because we are freelancers, but this is a business we're trying to run, a personal one at that. So we need to stop worrying about things we can't control. This is very liberating because it helps you shift your focus into things that you can control, like gig creation, like your actual offering, your gig image, that sort of thing. Oh, I said gig image, and I remembered Fiverr actually crawls through and reads your tags and your meta tags and your file names. So again, it's not going to hurt you, it's not going to benefit you greatly, but it's a good practice to actually, when you post, when you use the gig image, the file name shouldn't be image 2344 final 2 whatever. It needs to be the same set of keywords. This time it doesn't need to be organic, read by a human. It just needs to be the key phrase. Again, don't overdo it. Don't use 2 or 3. In this case, create a modern logo design. Excuse me. That means that my gig image file name should be modern logo design .jpeg or PNG or whatever that is. So, and then if I have multiple gig images or a PDF, let's say, again, those need to be relevant to the title, which is linked to the tags, which is then linked to the description, and yeah, so that strengthens your gig to the eyes of the Fiverr search engine. So the more it gets the same key phrase out of your description, tags, title, file names, whatever, the more it understands, it starts to think that, hey, this guy is super focused. This is people are looking for that phrase, and that guy has it everywhere. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And what I do, okay, this is an actual pro tip, because I saw Emma actually mentioning somewhere that but you're a pro. Okay, pro tip number 2 or 3, whatever it is. Every time I deliver a video, because I make videos, every time I deliver, the file name actually contains the key phrase that I use for my title, description, tags, the works. So because every time the buyer agrees to have this video showcased in my portfolio, Fiverr then sees again the use of the same key phrase, and it gets scanned and it gets picked up, and yeah, so there you go. I'm not saying go out and do it and you're gonna get 2,000 sales tomorrow morning, but it really helps when you show Fiverr aka the robot of this whole thing, that you're consistent and you keep using the same key phrase without overdoing it. And so yeah, I think that covers that part. Again, I'm sorry guys if this is dragging on too long. I'm just trying to cover everything. This is the first time I'm doing it. Hopefully next time it will be better, if there's a next time. Okay, so now comes the fun stuff, I guess. So performance is key, obviously. Fiverr is here to make money, like we said before. So what constitutes a good performance? Like, what makes a gig a good performer? So this is purely speculation. This is not official. This is not verified in any way. But I get a good sense of what tends to work and what doesn't work. So in my personal experience, I think SEO is number one. And then the actual performance is being separated into two categories. One is conversion. This is one type of performance that Fiverr is really hoping for. That means that people that land on your gig, that people that click on your gig actually message you, that counts as something. That's a positive. Remember when we talked about positive and negative actions? Someone looking for something and then seeing your gig, that's an impression, right? I see lots of people on the forum always saying, how do you get more impressions? How do you get more impressions? Well, you get impressions by actually doing the SEO properly. So that's how you get to appear in search result. That will get you impressions. What matters most is getting clicks. So when you appear on search results, if your title is relevant, if your gig image looks somewhat professional, same goes for your profile image as well. If you have a couple of reviews as well as social proof, but that's not completely necessary. If your price is right, whatever, there's lots of things here. I'm not trying to simplify it. I'm just trying to say, if you have a strong offering, then you shouldn't be worried about anything else other than pure 100% SEO. It's not a hack. Like, get proper SEO on your gigs. Don't overdo it. Don't try to hack anything. Don't try to trick the system, because that will hurt you. So then you appear, you get your chance to shine, whatever, and then people click on your link. That's when the performance metric number one in my head starts. Fiverr appreciates clicks. Then if someone clicks on your gig and then contacts you, that's even, that's a step further down the purchase chain, I guess, the purchase cycle. So that's intent to buy. They need something from you. They need to ask you a question. They're interested. They see that engagement. That's pretty much the same as, people clicking like on your post on Facebook or whatever. So, and then there's the actual sale. So if you get, 1,000 impressions, and out of those 1,000 impressions, you get, 15 clicks, and out of those 15 clicks, you get 5 sales. Fiverr says, hey, this guy's on something. There's consistency. People saw what they had, and they were generally interested, and then they went through all the motions, like they contacted the seller, and then went through the actual purchase, and they purchased. So that's great. That's one aspect of performance. The other aspect of performance I wanted to cover was how well, okay, I'm sorry, I lost it because I was reading something. Okay. Again, performance, there's another thing that I want to say before I forget. In my head, when someone contacts you before they buy, is actually not as great as an engagement for the Fiverr algorithm as if they were to land on your gig and just purchase without saying anything. That lack of friction actually counts as your gig performing even better, because that means that your description covers everything, that your frequently asked questions segment, is perfect. There are no questions. There's nothing wrong with it. People are excited and they just, straight up purchase whatever it is you're offering. So unless what you're offering is what you're good at, unless you love what you're doing, unless you really went the extra mile and did the SEO properly and all that sort of stuff, none of this matters. We shouldn't complain about the algorithm. We shouldn't, say that we don't get a chance, because none of it matters if we don't do our job properly. So performance, again, is key, but there are some things that, I'm not very sure how they work, because if I did, I would know how the algorithm works. But when someone clicks on your link, the more time they spend, this is actually true for Instagram, Facebook, social media platforms, but I'm guessing some of it may be true for Fiverr as well. Like if people click through your portfolio, if they spend like X amount of time reading your stuff, if they contact you, if they go through, if they click enough, clicks are actions. I'm not going to pretend that I know the formula or that I know which actions matter most, but I do get a sense that, some positive actions, purchasing being the number one, obviously, but, contacting you, spending time on your gig means that whatever it is you're offering is not something that has a huge bounce rate. We don't get a bounce rate on our analytics page, but I'm guessing that that should, probably play a role or something. Like if I click on a gig and it's like, yuck, and I like go back to the search results, that means that, whatever it is I'm offering is rotting inside, or, it's not good enough or whatever. Okay, and then I have lots of different theories that, this is just me be paranoid about, secret reviews. We all know they're there. People tend to, like if they don't post a public review, Fiverr prompts them to do a little secret review, like we won't tell anyone, just let us know what Frank really did. And when people, complete that process, whatever it is they're typing in, they also get stars as if this was a public review. And I think that counts towards, performance overall. That's the second aspect of performance I wanted to cover. So getting public reviews definitely helps. Getting positive reviews is definitely important. It doesn't have to be all 5 stars. You can get 4, you can get even 3.7. I think, what's the 3.3? What's the lowest threshold for positive review? 3? I don't know. Maybe someone knows. But, as long as you don't get negative public reviews and those pesky little secret private ones, then there's no reason for Fiverr to actually push your gig down the rankings, other than being a standard rotation cycle. Like we need to, mix things up a bit. Okay, I think that pretty much covers it for performance as well. Now, just before we jump into questions, just one final thing. Another page right out of my playbook. I showed you before my process for SEO, and if I went over something really quickly and you missed it or whatever, or if you want to go into detail, we can do this during the questions part of the segment. But another thing I like to do is, like, I don't tend to obsess too much about my analytics and where I'm at constantly. I do, contrary to public belief, I do get dry spells. I'm right in the middle of one. Like this week I only got 2 sales in. So there are extended periods of time where I deal with the same kind of stuff everyone deals with. Being pro or TRS doesn't do you any favors. So basically what happens is, when I'm during those dry spells, during those downtimes, I'm trying not to focus too much on analytics. What I tend to do is I get gigs that I know for sure are underperforming, and I know they're underperforming because I'm not getting any sales in on longer stretches of time, I guess. Or it's been weeks since someone messaged me about them last, which means they are either no longer relevant. Maybe the competition is has evolved, and I'm not. I should catch up or whatever. So what I tend to do is I take one or two of the gigs that are in my opinion underperforming, and I try to make small tweaks in the description and at least 50% of the tags that I used. There's no point in changing the gig title, because you're sort of like married to it, because even if you do change it, the actual SEO of the page, like what you get on your browser's tab, is the exact same title you used initially. So there's no point in changing that, and also trying to change that would make the description and the tags irrelevant. So what I try to do is make tiny tweaks, not on all my gigs and not all at the same time, because I need some time to then process if that change was a positive one, and if it brought in more people to talk to me about my gig or whatever it is I'm offering, that sort of thing. I don't obsess too much about search results, because like I said, if I do a search now and I do one in 30 minutes, I will get completely different results. And I'm pretty sure that if Fiverr is not showing me my gigs when I'm signed in, it's because it finds it redundant. Like, why would I be looking to buy my own gigs? And at the same time, if I go into incognito mode or whatever and I'm looking for my stuff, I'm not 100% sure that my buyers, my target audience, is seeing the same page that I'm seeing. So I'm not obsessing about that. If a long period of time goes by and no one, like I get crickets, no one contacts me and no one messages me about anything, then something fishy is happening. Like, then I'm not getting paranoid or anything, but then I try to do some more drastic changes. I try to spice it out a bit. I try to publish new gigs that I have in the making, in the back burner or whatever. I think this has taken longer than I initially thought it would. Maybe we should answer some questions, but at the same time, because of the delay, I'm not sure how real time this is gonna be. Should I scroll up and see some of the questions? Are there any questions other than get on with it? Comments. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so if anyone has any questions, either about what we talked about, this subject in particular, or anything else, really, this is a Ask Me Anything segment, Okay, some jokes I see in the comments. Okay, Emma is asking how to make sell. Sure. You know how to make sell. Okay, so title length short and green, or better orange, red, and long tail keywords. You should never go over what Fiverr deems as a perfect title. You should never go over the green one, the green light. The thing is that you need longer phrases, longer keywords, like key phrases. Let's not stick to keywords. Like try to at least use 3 words that comprise, that make a key phrase. But don't overdo it. Like keep it organic, keep it simple. And again, you should be targeting one thing. Like your gig should be focused on one thing that you do well. So in that respect, you shouldn't need more than the words that Fiverr deems just perfect, like the green indication that you get when you write the title. Any other question? Can you talk about the framework, however briefly? Framework. Which framework would that be? Like if it's the ranking, I guess, framework, it's basically what I talked about, the SEO, however long that segment was, about your title, the key phrases you need to use, good practices on tag words and that sort of thing, and how your description needs to start with the same exact organic phrase that you used in your title. Using bold won't hurt either. If you were referring to a different framework out of the other subjects I mentioned in the forum, let me know. We'll cover it as well. Are you wearing pants? Yes, I am. Okay, quality or quantity? I'm assuming that's for gigs. I think quality will always trump quantity. But when you're first standing out and you have like 0 reviews, 0 sales in, it doesn't hurt to try to cast a wider net. That being said, again, don't try to trick the system by creating the same basic offering. Like I will create a logo. That's all I can do. But I will try to trick the system and just create 3 different gigs. One would be I will create an amazing logo. One will be I will create a wonderful logo. And one would be, you get my drift. So don't try to overdo it when it comes to gigs. Focus on 1, maybe even 2 gigs that you can offer, again, on the same subject, because I'm always, assuming that there's only one thing we can do really, really well. And that's what we should focus on. And so try to create a couple of gigs that are differentiated enough to, you shouldn't try and trick the system. That's all I'm saying. Can you show how you deliver your work to the buyer? Sure. That's not really relevant to this subject. Let me see if there are any more relevant questions. We can circle back to that one. Oh, let's cover that. Okay, so can you show how you deliver your work to the buyer? Okay, I don't think it's that useful to actually show you like the templated responses I have, but I use them a lot. So basically, for every gig I have a different template, a different response. Well, I don't remember the exact term Fiverr uses. Oh my gosh. So and that's what I use as a base. But then what I do is like the middle segment of the entire thing is really 100% personalized. Like I mention what I did, I mention any extra work I did, in the sense of like I really try to take care of you. If there was something specific they asked me in advance, I make sure I cover it in my delivery notes, so they would never have a doubt that I read them, the remarks, that I didn't take care of whatever it is they were worried about. So basically you want to communicate what a great job you did, but at the same time you need to, depending on what your revision policy is, you need to actually mention that, hey, you have like 1 revision built into your price. Let me know if you want to change something. And you can also, depending on what it is you're offering, you can also define what constitutes a revision. So basically don't have them get back to you with like a million notes or a complete do-over. Like we can change, I don't know, if you're a designer, we can change the color, we can move things around a bit, but basically That's it. Does raising price boost ranking? Okay, so again, this is about performance. If you raise your price just for the sake of it, you're gonna notice that if you were getting sales, sales are gonna abruptly stop, or at least considerably slow down. So that will tell Fiverr that you're not performing as well. So if you were offering something for $10 and you decided overnight to change the price to 50, then Fiverr would see, hey, he was doing well at 10 and now at 50 he's not doing anything at all. So maybe this gig isn't for 50. So again, this is more strategic than what your question implies. Whatever it is you're wondering was. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna change my price and maybe I'll get a better ranking. I don't see any correlation between the two. If anything, always, like, even if I do it like every couple of months, I raise prices on certain gigs, knowing full well that whoever it is that was buying my gig is probably gonna stop and think about more. I'm gonna create more friction. People are not going to be sure about their purchase. More questions are coming my way. Maybe I'm going to lose a couple of clients. So I do know that it's going to hurt my rankings overall. Whether I do it or not is a different, more strategic decision based on the value I'm offering. Whether if I'm up my game, whatever, I'm a better designer now. I got better equipment. I've got more overhead, whatever. So it's not something you should consider just for the sake of ranking. It's not going to help. Let's see. Sometimes need space to get around the rule construct, but gotcha. Thanks. Okay. Customer service frameworks on the poll. Oh, circling back to that one. Okay, so customer service framework. Okay, so that's a really big subject. I don't know how we could possibly squeeze it in right now. It's a completely, lecture of its own. What I would say is that basically that subject covers everything from early communications to strong proposals to buyer requests, how to actually listen to the client when they come to you with a question, what that question is, what does it mean, and whether or not you can service the client and how can you present yourself to them. Again, most of the times, even for me, when people come to me and ask me questions in my inbox, they're usually talking to a bunch of other people down the line. And what happens is you need to sort of pay attention to what it is they're saying, because if you end up working with them, then every single detail that they came to you initially with is going to matter down the line. So everything from essentially how to talk to the client when they first come to you, and then how to actually facilitate the order, when to post an update, what happens when they purchase, what sort of automated messages you should have prepared, that sort of thing. So it's basically I think it's one of my favorite subjects because customer service should never be overlooked. It's like equally important as the job you're doing. If you're a great designer and you suck at customer service, then you won't get a good review. You won't get people returning to you as customers. And I really think that a true professional should not only be, at the top of his game. He should always be able to facilitate a great experience for the buyer. I don't know if that answers your question. Let's see what else. Oh, okay, yeah, I got that, Emma. I got that same email myself, and I was like, God, why wouldn't they let it die? It was about the paid search results, and okay, so I don't know, it was 3 or 4 years back when they first tried it. It sucked. I only got I think 2 sales out of sponsored posts, whatever it is that we're calling them. I'm guessing they're gonna overcharge for them. Like they already take 20%, they're gonna start taking 15 or whatever more. You know, prepare to pay. I don't want thoughts on this. Compare. Yeah. So I'm not really for the promotion in general due to the marketplace, the nature of the marketplace. I think that having promoted gigs actually brings up an ethical question, I think, towards buyers. Like, am I giving you something that you actually need, and something that's actually performing well, and this seller I can vouch for, and you can see his social proof or whatever? Or is it because this seller will give me, at the end of the day, I'll get 20 plus whatever the percentage of the promotion is out of it? So I'm really against it. And last time they implemented it, it didn't work like at all. And I don't know, like it's iffy. Like when you look for something as a client and there's like sponsored posts, you're wondering like, is this good for me? Like, is this just something that's just trying to push my way? Like, I don't trust it. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't think it will affect search results or the algorithm or whatever. I think they're going to test it out for a couple of months, and if it works, it works. If it works, that means that they need to make changes in their algorithm as well. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so another quick question. Might also want to mention a few of the things suspected and or confirmed that currently don't affect the algorithm. Skill test, gigs. Okay. Forum activity, no. It doesn't matter if you're in the forum. It doesn't matter if you're there posting all day long, replying, liking, subscribing, whatever. No. If you want to be in the forum, treat it with respect. It's a community. It's us, sellers, fellow buyers. We should try and help each other out. I know it doesn't look it most of the time. I'm there to help people, though. I may, respond in a weird way sometimes, or maybe I exaggerate or whatever. But I mean well, and I'm my only concern is elevating the marketplace and helping people change Fiverr. I guess Fiverr has its quirks and a bad name in some industries. That's a really long conversation, but yeah, if you want to jump on the forum, do so because you want to help or you want to answer questions or ask questions or whatever. It doesn't have anything to do with the algorithm. Skill tests, same. It's just something that appears as a badge in your profile, basically telling people that if you offer SEO, you pass the test, whatever that was. So yeah, you can be either you're good at cheating or you can be too bad at what you're doing. But it has nothing to do with search results. Like if I have 4 or 5 tests I took, I'm not gonna rank better than you. 24/7 online status. Okay, so I used to be against that. Like, it only truly matters if I look for a gig and I check the box, only show me online sellers. But at the same time, Fiverr has a way of figuring out how active I am on the platform. That doesn't mean that if I spend all day long refreshing my browser or get a script or a plugin or whatever that does that for me, I'm gonna get more sales because I'm gonna rank higher or whatever. I'm not gonna rank higher, but Fiverr tends to see which seller is more active than others. It won't rank me any higher, but I think it contributes to the algorithm and performance, the performance metric. I'm not sure I have the right answer right now. I don't know, if I edit my gig all day long, does that count, or answering messages, or, I don't know which page you need to be at specifically. But yeah, online status, okay. It won't rank you, but if you're active on the platform, that means you're doing something, right? editing your gigs, publishing new gigs, that sort of thing. So it doesn't hurt either. Yeah, I think that covers everything you just mentioned. Okay, so a good point about people that click on your link, but it's just the message you just to spam you, or yeah, I think anything that's flagged as spam and people that get blocked too much, I think it's all about the weight. Like some actions bear more weight than others. Like if I'm a spammer and Fiverr knows it, obviously, if I don't buy your gig, it doesn't mean as much as let's say top rated buyer that buys things on the spot, not buying a gig. That definitely is a more impactful action, I guess, or lack of. But conversion is tricky because it all depends. There are too many variables. So there's price, there's what it is you're offering, what the users search for, how they arrived on your gig, whether or not you have 5 orders on queue and they need it by tomorrow, so they're like, I'm not gonna even message them. They seem too busy. Or maybe they come to you and you have exactly what they need and they're just too pushy and you don't want to work with them, because this is a two-way street. It's not everyone is meant to work with everyone. That's what I always say. Like, we're not all meant to work with each other and be super friendly or okay with each other. So I don't think that you should focus too much on that. But what I do know is that if your gig is well made and people just scroll a couple of times and then click your gig access or whatever, and then they buy and they don't contact you, I truly think that counts more than having them save your gig, coming back later, or asking you a bunch of questions and then you closing the deal with whatever it is you answer. That being said, every single one, pro tip number 4, every single one of you who has like huge bold letters that say contact me before purchasing, that's like me opening a store down the street and having a huge sign outside that says call me before you enter, or don't even bother having your wallet with you because I want to talk to you first, see if you're if you're up to something. So that creates unnecessary friction. A. B. Most people tend to use bold letters and highlighted text, and that's the very first text on the top of the gig description. That really does a number in your SEO, because that has nothing to do with your gig title or what it is you're offering. So basically, Fiverr's robot is disregarding whatever it is you're selling. And I'm guessing that most people that have that sort of bold statement, contact me before purchasing, are people that have been burned before, like from people buying without reading the description, or okay. So my theory is this: if that's happening to you, if that happens to you once, that's okay. Twice, okay. Let's see if it happens a third time. If it keeps on happening, then there's something wrong with your description. There's something wrong with your offering. It's not a clear proposition enough for the buyer to understand. Use the frequently asked question to whatever extent Fiverr has. Like, is it 7-10 questions or something? Like, try to cover all the bases. Create a better description. Tweak that. Do not create additional friction and have the buyer message you and jump through hoops before they can purchase. And another factor here is price. If you offer something for $5, your basic package, let's say, and that basic package is like a really basic form of what the complete product should be, then that's a really bad practice, in my opinion. That used to work like 5-6 years ago. Everyone was bound by the same limitation. You should only save at sell at $5 and then work your way up using extras and whatnot, or multiple sales. Most of us have been through that, but there's no reason for that anymore. Like, you can start selling at 80, start selling at 100. Why do a bait and switch and just try to trick someone into a lower price point and then give them half of the work, or the same amount of work but at half the quality? Why half-ass it at $5? If your price is 20, go for 20. And then you'll notice that all those buyers that were looking, they didn't even read the description because they said, it's $5. Let's see what happens. And this is what happens. You get sales in that, ask for more things that you cover on your basic package. So, price is a factor. Price and a bad description. So if you want to avoid that, don't create additional friction. That hurts your performance, that hurts your stats, it hurts your SEO. Every single one, every single seller right now who has a contact me before purchasing anywhere in the description is losing sales. So it's as simple as that. So other questions, let's move a bit quicker. Okay, can you, on the majority of cases, does buyer choose a gig with higher or lower price? Well, I don't know. It depends on the gig. It depends on, okay, so listen, Fiverr is Fiverr, okay? So they started the whole pro proposition, and they're trying to pivot into a new position where they can service bigger clients with more expensive premium stuff. Okay, so at the same time, Fiverr is still Fiverr. Like, that's the main platform. I get a lot of people that say, hey, how much is that? And but when I state my rates or my prices, they go, hey, I thought this was Fiverr, which is true, I guess. But at the same time, they have like another 12 or 14 tabs open to the browser, and they try to hustle, huggle all the other sellers as well. So there will always, let's just keep it simple. There will always be buyers that are out to purchase based on price. You should be looking at buyers who are looking to purchase based on value. So if they are looking for a website, I'm not saying that you should only look for buyers, and you're making websites, of course. You shouldn't be looking for buyers who have like a budget of 10K to spend. The important part is to be able to separate and distinguish between buyers who are only looking to purchase based on price, and buyers who are looking to purchase based on their actual needs and the value that they see in your product, and you as a seller as well. So majority of cases, I don't know. I'm guessing even now to this day, with all the shifts and tricks and marketing on Fiverr side of things, I still get lots more messages from people with lower budgets. But that doesn't mean that they can't be offered something more expensive, depending on what it is they're looking for. So yeah, on average, I think they're looking for lower prices, but it's not what it used to be, where they were looking for something that's $5-10 at most. Can you share how you started on Fiverr and how you did on your first month? A bit of motivation if possible. Yeah, there's a blog post about that. Like, there was backdoor brag. There was a feature on me as a pro seller, and there's a bit of a story about how I started and what happened. Basically, I was in a tough spot, and I turned to Fiverr to make a quick buck, and I ended up making, I think, $400 on my first month. But that was way back in the day, where it was a real, Wild West sort of thing. People would post crazy stuff, and most of them would sell like hotcakes. I don't know why. So basically, you could offer something really weird or really basic, and you would still get sales in. It was a simpler, harder but simpler era for me, in my mind at least. If you're looking for motivation, look around you. There are lots of sellers doing great stuff, doing great work. You should always look up to people who not only have a proven track record, but who are active in the forums. You should always ask questions if it's motivation you're looking for. I think there are plenty of people that can share the stories, and they're really interesting. Looking forward to your talk on customer service. Let's hope that happens. Yeah, because that's why I mentioned that in the forum. That's my favorite subject. Do you like the Sony? Oh, the headphones. Awesome. I love the noise canceling feature. Awesome. Great headphones. Great mic as well. Do you think different categories have different algorithm parameters? Some categories have features like packages. Okay, so basically, I don't think they have different algorithm parameters, but at the same time, if you have a gig in a certain category that allows you to add stuff like style, metadata, file format, other options, that sort of thing, you should fill out everything. Like everything Fiverr throws at you during the 6 steps it takes to create and publish a gig, fill out everything, every option. Try to offer gig extras that make sense. Try to tick every box that says, what sort of style you're looking for. If your style or service is not there, there's always a box that says suggest other. So do that, because that way when the algo looks for the best result, like I said earlier in the lecture part of this live stream, people get lots of options that we don't control. Like the buyer gets some options like, do you need a video? Do you need a video with a script? Do you need a voiceover? That sort of thing. So if you offer those things and you've ticked those boxes and the buyer looks for them, then you're gonna get ranked for that particular search. Again, ranking is no longer just getting to the top of one page. There are millions of pages, and we get ranked based on the relevance of the search, and that's it. So yeah, ticking those boxes and depending on the category is super helpful. Amaki's ghost, yeah, sure, she's always with us. Because big old price and gigs, where I want people to contact me with a teaser about lower pricing in the, oh, that's smart. Yeah, that's actually a good strategy from Emma right there. If your price point is high enough, people won't actually hit the buy button and then figure it out later. The risk is greater, so they won't buy something that costs $80 as easily as they would if it, starting price was $10. So yeah, having a higher price will actually, deter people from just buying and I'm gonna figure it out later. It works or it doesn't work. No, it costs money, and that's actually a great strategy from Emma right there. Oh wait, I skipped a question, I think. Just interesting. Encouraging newbies to join the forum. Should we be hostile or friendly? Well, that depends. If people join the forum and just post, stuff like pray for me, or the algorithm, or do you know any tricks, or do you know any tips, and share your experience with me so I can do this and that. Yeah, that's not gonna help them. There's never any point in being hostile, but when I respond to people using some sort of, when I'm really shaking things up by saying something like this doesn't work, no, you shouldn't do that, or when I'm being just judgmental, I guess, is when said user usually tries to perpetuate a myth or shares tips when they have a proven track record. They're just throwing stuff around, something they read online, something that was, maybe used to work 3 or 4 years ago. That's where I'm not hostile, but I'm trying to put a cap on that so no one will repeat it. So people will see that we're not here to game the system. Like sometimes I see people that say, hey, my response rate went down, wink, wink, because they need someone to message them to pick it up again. I think that's really unfair to everyone, unethical. It's really fooling no one. You should have been there to respond to your client's messages in the first place. This is not fooling anyone. That's the only, justification, I guess, in my mind for when I'm really, I guess, borderline rude to people. But yeah, being hostile never helped anyone, so don't be hostile. We should be encouraging. Wrong question, correct question. Should the mic be unbanned? Yeah, hell yeah. We miss you on the forum, definitely. Let's see, any other questions? Lone Wolf. Oh, where's he at? Is he here? No? Oh. I get your point about contact me before ordering, although I'm not entirely sure how much impact it has on the SEO. I worked on almost 2,000 orders, good for you, and more than 90% were based on custom offers. Awesome. So, not sure how to pronounce your screen name, but let me say this. I said that it will definitely hurt your SEO based on the premise that your title and your search tags and the first sentence of your description should be linked by using the same key phrases. If the very first phrase on your gig description is contact me before whatever, and then you use a line break and then dive into your description, then that breaks that trifecta, like title, search tags, and gig description, the first line of the gig description. That's why I said it may hurt your SEO. If you have like a positive experience with using that tactic, that means that your gig is performing well on other aspects, I guess. Also, I think to put things into context, if people buy from you when they contact you, yes, you did create unnecessary friction. So maybe it's not a 100% win for the Fiverr algo that they had to message you before they purchased, but they ended up purchasing, right? So it's not like they messaged you and then they scattered, they went elsewhere to get their gig done. So that means that you're good at closing deals, which is good performance overall. So yeah, that works. So what about inviting people to inquire about custom offers? You can suggest that in your description for sure. I was against the huge banner that says do not buy before messaging me, or whatever the phrasing is. It doesn't matter. The fact is that you're not trying to scare people away. You should have people contact you. Yes, okay, contact me if what you see in the description is not covered. Contact me with any special requests. Contact me if you have any questions or doubts, or so yeah, I'm not saying I'm against prompting people to contact you. That also puts some extra weight on your shoulders that you have to close the deal then. So when you invite people over to talk to you, you have to have the skills necessary to close the deal. So yeah, I prefer it when my description, my gig title, my work speaks for itself, and people are like, hey, I want to buy this, and they buy it. So yeah, that's sort of like a proactive way of treating things. Yeah, definitely that's a different approach. Contact me because I need to, make sure the specifics are just right or whatever. That works too. I was against people that have a huge warning sign, don't purchase without contacting. That's nonsensical to me. Like, it makes no sense. Prompting people to contact you in general, for inquiries or whatever, yes, yeah, that never hurts, obviously. It's on cards dispersions. Yes, I covered that. Packing stands. So, all right, I'm not gonna engage. No, Modi. Wait, you had been using the headphones mic now? No, I have been using a different USB mic. I'm not using the headphones mic. I'm using this just so I keep the noise out of my ears and for monitoring. Okay, so Frank, have you ever been in the situation of being over the buyer requirement since you are a pro? I like your style, especially when you use motion design. Cool. Oh, thank you so much for your kind words. I think I used the buyer request tool for like the first 60 days I was on the platform. Like past that point, it made very little sense for me. I've never visited it since. Not because it's not a great tool, but because there's too much spamming and it attracts like the buyers that usually go there get like bombarded with nonsense and so much bad stuff that people don't actually get to read your proposal or whatever it is you have that's solid. So it's like a really bad place to compete in my, I guess, level of the game or in my mindset or whatever. And also the majority of buyers that frequent that place are buyers that only make their purchasing decisions solely based on price. So that doesn't work for me. So that's why I don't use that feature. That's not to say that it's a bad feature or that new sellers don't need to use it, because that's actually a good way to get your first leads and get some friction going and answering a few questions and seeing how the process works and seeing where you failed so you can, succeed the next time. Or you can, gauge general interest. People keep looking for t-shirts. I'm a good designer. Maybe I should look into that sort of thing. Relevant stuff to what you do again. So, any other questions? I think we're winding down. How to choose a low competitive keyword? Not sure I understand that question. Low competitive how? Oh, so like not a lot of people are using it, right? So that's easy. Like figure out something really extreme you're good at doing. So like if you're a logo designer, just do some research, like a couple of hours, look into whatever it is everyone else is doing, and then try to do the exact opposite and see what that gets you. I don't know how, really, like if you can give me an example, like what's your, I don't remember what the category is that you're creating gigs for. If you can give me an example, maybe we can figure something out. Tip while creating new gig to avoid the necessity of flipping tables: save your text outside of Fiverr and copy paste it in. That's a pro tip if I ever saw one. Yes, that's a really great tip. Yes, you should always save your text outside of Fiverr and copy paste it in. But I think when you're using Word and you do the highlighting and the bullet points inside Word, it freaks out the Fiverr's tools word count thingy, and even though you're under 1200 characters, it counts them as 1500 or whatever and drives me crazy. But yes, always copy paste it in, because it freaks me out when I lose my stuff as well. What do you think the algorithm bases on which gigs they recommend below our own gig? Again, relevance. That's the key word. If you want to take something from this session, it's relevance. Fiverr is going to suggest gigs that are close to your price point because it does a bit of A/B testing on its own. Like if you're offering something for $15, more often than not, the relevant gigs that they appear while the customer is while your prospect is browsing your own gig is usually a bit lower or a bit higher. It's basically experimenting. So by the time the user scrolls down as much as they need to get to the relevant gigs, Fiverr throws them at them as a Hail Mary to, hey, don't go away if you didn't like what you saw. Here are a couple of other bunch of stuff that you can, right click and open in a new tab just to keep busy or whatever. Usually they're close to your price point. Usually they're different set of keywords though, just to mix it up a bit and see if you lose them, if someone else will catch them, if that makes any sense. Is it more something about the gig seller probs, lower price, or other different data? No, it's just relevance. Like I said, a higher price gig, a slightly lower price gig, someone with different keywords, someone with the same keywords. They're just trying to pretty much at that point cover all the bases. Like, let's see if if you lose them, if someone else can get them as a client, because Fiverr gets paid either way. Hate to break it to you. Between that and people who don't read the terms of service just drive me nuts. Ditto. In Soviet Russia, terms of service reads you. Awesome. Copy pasting your shiz into the gig description always messes up the formatting though. Good point, Emma. That's what it also messes up with the word count as well. I have clicks but no order or contact from buyer. Okay. If you do have a good amount of clicks based on the number of impressions you're getting, but you're not getting any orders, if that's the question, then that means that your funnel is broken. Somewhere down the line, something is not either compelling enough or not convincing enough. And most of the time, when people are looking into your offering, they have certain insecurities, either related to your price or whether or not you can do the job or whatever. So whatever it is, you're losing them at some point. It's really extensive. Like, you need to do a bit of research and take a good hard look at where you may be losing people down your funnel. There's the school of thought that there's a reason that some terms are uncompetitive. Yes, of course. That's what I said. If you move to an extreme and do something that only another couple of people or no one else is doing, then yes, you have a fair shot at low competition. But at the same time, the competition is low because maybe there are no buyers for that. So yeah. Okay, an example, speeding WordPress website niche. Speeding WordPress, is that a thing? Really? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like something, I don't even know what it is. I'm guessing it's a thing. And because I'm not familiar with the term, I don't know who might, want to purchase or look for such a service. So basically, that's very low risk right there. Like, if you have a gig to spare, like if you have, I don't know what your level is, but if you have like 7 gigs to make and you have 5 active gigs, like make a 6th one, see what happens. Chances are not a lot of things are gonna happen, not a lot of stuff. So, but you can always try. Sometimes when we pick what we want to do, common sense dictates that, we need to pick something that people are actively looking for. Like, loving what you do and, being good at it is just part of the equation. It needs to be in demand. So yeah, a smart way would be to like strand off, like go really far out there and try to see if someone's looking for what was it, speeding WordPress. Yeah, I don't know what that is. You go to a website and it tells you how to speed up your site technically. That guy probably does the tech shiz behind it. I mean, the low competition keywords, how to choose. Maybe I missed the question. How to choose low competition keywords. Well, okay. So I'm not really sure what it is you mean by low competition. Um, if it's something really, really, really laser focused and it has a really, really small target audience, then I guess again relevance is your friend. Just look for two or three words that describe concisely what it is you're doing, and it's sort of like you need to guess, is that the relative term for it? Like if I were a buyer, that's what the kids are calling it nowadays. That's what I'm going to be looking for, that sort of thing. Not sure I'm getting the question though. I'm sorry if I'm not answering what you're asking. um Completely unrelated to the algorithm topic. Oh, okay. Feel free to skip. Why do you think people don't take advantage of the option to have their gigs in two languages, English and other? That's a good question. Is that an option? Like when you create a gig, can you translate it into a second language, or do you need to sacrifice the description and have it half in English and half in Spanish or whatever? That being said, the majority of buyers on the platform are looking for English-speaking sellers. So I don't know how that would expand, what it is you're, the potential buyers to what it is you're offering. I'm not really sure, unless it's something really specific like translations or voiceover work, that sort of thing. You can use tags for that, definitely. Emma said something about that, writing on the subreddit. Maybe we should host together next time. I mean, using two languages in the same gig description. Yes, that actually sacrifices valuable space in your description that you could use to better convert and convince people that you know what you're doing. Unless your service again caters to bilinguals and you know your audience well, I don't see how that would greatly benefit you. It would end up hurting you in terms of SEO, I guess, and ranking. I've had that for a while. Oh, we have an answer relative to that. But two languages in the same gig, 1,200 characters is tough. Yeah, what I said before. If you also want no constant cancellations, also I think most buyers search in English. Yes, definitely. And SEO understands English, I think. Better, at least. In essence, yes, if your service, again, is for bilinguals, or if the service itself is translation between two languages, or you deliver the same voiceover for some reason at the same price for in both English and Spanish, then yeah, go for it. But at the same time, I think that sacrificing half of your frequently asked questions and description, and what's the title going to be in English or half and half? I don't know. It seems like it would be better if you would focus on one language and explain it in the description somewhat. English must be in the description. Yes, okay. Emma clarifies. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, but not worth it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Not enough people use the full character limit anyway. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you really should. You shouldn't do it unless you have a well thought out description and well structured copy that is meant to help people understand what it is you do. If it's complicated, or selling points, or I like to use use cases in my descriptions when it comes to really abstract things, like I will create an animated ad. So okay, so where can you use that? Or I will create a logo animation, and I'm just helping people picture, I guess, what they could do with said animation or said product. So yeah, definitely a good tip is to really exploit the whole thing, like the whole 1200 characters for sure. Okay, back to the low competitor keyword on WordPress speed niche. Um, hmm. So I don't know. I'm really at a loss here, because I don't understand why you would need low competitor keywords. And again, my tip would be to select two key phrases that seem the most relevant as to what your buyers would search. I don't know what those would be, because I don't understand what that term is at all. What about package descriptions? Oh yeah, that's great. That's a great point. I forgot to mention that. Yes, package descriptions. People tend to overlook that. I'm not certain it has any. It's affecting SEO in any way. Repeating keywords there doesn't seem too organic, but people need to also use up the entire description, because that's the only part, like that's the one chance you have for someone to actually read before they select something. So if you're having a lot of trouble with sales coming in that are not they buy the basic package where they should have selected the standard one, aside from the fact that you need to reevaluate what it is you're offering and at what price point, that means that your gig descriptions are not working correctly. Again, I don't think it would hurt if you replicate one of the key phrases in your package's description, but I'm not really super convinced, because I tried it on 2 gigs and it didn't lead anywhere. I didn't have enough data to back it up with. But it appears that for some reason it doesn't get picked up, or if it does get picked up by the search engine, it doesn't matter as much by that point when we get to the gig description. But yes, try and use the gig description as efficiently as possible, because I guarantee you, if the buyer only reads 2 things before buying, it's not going to be the description. It's going to be the title, and then the description of the packages. They don't bother reading the description most of the time. It's sad, but it happens most of the time. Super limited characters, is a list better or a sentence? I try to cram everything into sentences that make sense. A list, the formatting doesn't help convey, like where the lines break and whatever. It usually appears a bit messed up, so I avoid that. I try to write everything down beforehand, and then try to chip away at it, remove words, use commas, slashes or whatever, to make sure I cram in as much as I can in there. Yeah, I think wow, it's been 2 hours. Okay, so thank you guys for being here and for sticking with me to the end. I don't know if I missed any questions. I see questions / comments are slowing down. Maybe we've covered everything. Maybe everyone asked whatever it is they wanted to ask. Any off-topic questions, something that doesn't have to do with this is an ask me anything session anyway, so whatever it is, if you want to throw it out there before we call it a night. What did you guys think? Any feedback? I know probably most of it sucked. Usually when we do something for the first time, it's not perfect. No, but thank you so much for being here. That's okay. We can still do a couple of questions. Could you shoehorn Brexit into this somehow? Oh gosh, did the vote go through? Like I think it went through. It's it's not a non-deal. It's a deal Brexit. Is it? Like, does this affect us somehow? Ah, thank you. I am a real human. Thank you for noticing. Yes. It's always nice, and I used YouTube this time because it was the first time, and I also mentioned that I'm starting a private um, mentoring group. I'm gonna be using Zoom for that because I need to be able to hear and talk to other people. Reading through the comments is kind of like reading through the forum and then um, talking over it. Plus, it's not real time, so it's not ideal, but it was a starting point. It was something easy to do, I guess, and set up. But yeah, definitely, I would like to see some of the people that are in the chat. I would like to be able to see them and hear them as well. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope I answered some of the questions. I gave you some good practices. Hopefully, again, I really appreciate everyone who came here. I didn't expect this to blow up or anything, but yeah, it was a super fun process for me to go through. I like your Infinity Gauntlet in the background. Which one? I have two. I have both. Thank you though. Huge Marvel fan as well. I do have an off-topic question, but it can wait. Thank you so much. For sure, you can always hit me up with a mention on the forum as well. And I'm not sure when. Hopefully next week. Like I said, we talked with Matthew briefly, and he's on board to sort of like co-host or do something together next time. We can even go through the subjects I'm going to propose and put up for vote again. So maybe he has something to contribute as well. We left the EU like an hour ago. Yay! I guess. Yay, because that's what you wanted. Nobody knows Brexit is missing. Yeah, definitely. I know for sure. Do you have a specific schedule for Fiverr? I mean, working hours, how do you manage? Oh, right. Yeah, there was a question before. I don't know if it was you about how long I spend on Fiverr. Okay, so I don't have, like, obviously, I have a schedule. Like, I spend most of the day in the studio, but it's not like it used to be really bad. Like I used to work all the time because I used to work at home 3 years back. But that was really, I don't know. It was just bad. It was just frantic. I was too concerned with work, and I never got enough rest. I never got to enjoy anything. So I try to organize things. Like before I even head out to the office, I try to plan my day ahead. I know what my deadlines are. I know when I'm waiting for feedback on something. I know when I need to send something out. So basically I try to be as as efficient as possible, I guess. My goal is to not spend more than 4 or 6 hours actually working on day-to-day operations, as I call them, during the daytime. And the minute I leave the studio, everything is done. Everything that had to be delivered, that had to be revised or whatever, that had to be communicated, a proposal sent, whatever, everything is done. The minute I walk out, I use the mobile app to return messages and tell people I'm going to be back in the morning. Is it something that's urgent or whatever? Respond to new messages so I can keep my response rate up. But other than that, yeah, I don't spend more than 4 or 6 hours in the studio. And that has nothing to do with how much work I have or how much ongoing work I have outside of Fiverr, or how many orders I have on queue or whatever. It's just about planning your day out efficiently and working through your schedule. That's all. But yes, having a specific schedule works. So pick the time where you're most productive, most uninterrupted. I find that time to be really early in the morning for me, and that leaves me time to work on other stuff that from another company I have, and then find some time to do something creative, learn a new skill, do something more interesting before I call it a day. You need to educate me on for sure, yeah, definitely. Not having millions of gigs on the go helps me that too, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we covered pretty much everything. Unless someone has any other question, any other comment, feedback, whatever. Nope. Okay. So I think it's this is a good point as any to call it a night. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful, answered some questions, helped dispel some myths. Um, um, yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully, we'll get to do it again in a week or so. Bye.